felt comfortable with you, and that's the most important thing.
Jeff, now see, now I'm gonna make you come up to the table. Now, I didn't make Mr. Lassise come up because he's a principal, but Jeff, I'm gonna make you come up. And I was afraid to tell the principal.
Well,
like, what-
Come on, man. Challenge. You need to learn how to challenge authority.
Exactly.
Jeff especially
Never been a
deserves
problem.
to say that. He's our most frequent audience member for the
Correct.
community.
Well, I think I'm one of the luckiest members in the community because my kids have been involved in the school system for almost the exact time that you've been school committee members. My son Nathan's almost 20, and hard to believe. And so I consider myself to be very, very fortunate to have had you on the school committee for all these years. I'll second what other people said in terms of your undying quest to have every decision be student-centered. I mean, I've heard you say that a gazillion times, and so much appreciate that. And I'm glad Jerry mentioned, because one of the things that I think is going to be fun about you leaving is to see Jerry struggle with minutes. I think that's going to be very entertaining.
We're gonna assign him a minute.
I'm looking forward to that. But Steve, I think probably one of the big legacies of your tenure, going back to Maureen and Nancy and Janet O'Neill and Colleen and all the school committee people who served with you and back those years ago, was your commitment to students with disabilities and the dramatic changes that our community's gone through, our school committee's gone through with regard to inclusion and expansion of services and making every student feel a part of this community. And you've been an absolutely tremendous leader in this regard over the years. It's never been any question that if there's one side I always knew you were going to take, that was it. Okay, I'll just only take exception with a couple comments before, because there was just no question that you had the needs of students with disabilities in mind, and the changes that have taken place over your tenure over the past 15 or 20 years have been absolutely remarkable and made huge differences in children's lives and families' lives, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, at this time, we'll just pause quickly. We'll let the transcript photographer set up whatever kind of picture she wants, and then we'll right back to our meeting. You want us to come back there, or?
Yes.
Okay. All of us? Want the whole committee, or?
The whole committee and the superintendent.
Okay. Superintendent? All of us?
And we have the plaque and
Oh, yeah.
the proclamation. This isn't on film.
Yeah, it is.
Story, and mine's how he wasn't just a hero. Nowadays, he was way back then. And for the first one I did, I photoshopped Jack Bauer into Iwo Jima, and as I have him doing the midnight ride with Paul Revere. And then,
Can you tell us a little bit how you did this, or what?
yeah, I found the background photo, the one with Paul Revere, and then I found, using the internet, I found another picture of Jack Bauer, and I put it onto Adobe Photoshop, and using a tool, a Magic Wand tool, I traced him out, and I moved him into this photo, and then using the shadows, I put a layer over him, and I used different filters on the Adobe Photoshop to sort of make it look, have the cartoon sort of sketch, and just a bunch of photos and shading I changed to make them look more like he was part of the picture. And then for my third one that I'm working on, I made him a terracotta soldier, and he's on the left in the front. And I used the same process for all the photos.
Jack Bauer couldn't exist back then because there were no cell phones.
Right.
It was impossible, but,
He probably had.
And we have to, for the presentation, we have to make 5 photos like this, put it onto a PowerPoint, which it's not due until next week. So I'm working on another one. I'm making him a gladiator, and then I was gonna put him in the Trojan horse. Those are my next 2. So that is what we're doing in graphic design class.
Great. What is Steve, or Amelia or Steve, what is the band this weekend? Is that a competition, do you know, or?
I'm not.
No.
They generally manage to fit in a competition, but I can't tell you what it is this week. We took on that not the first time they've gone, so I suspect that they would compete.
Any questions for Amelia? Thanks for the thorough report. That's a nice project. I like the serial.
Are you a 24 fan of this?
Yes, big fan.
When's it coming back on? Is it
Not doing it this year. It's not coming back on until next January.
January?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
I'm disappointed, but.
At least it will come back.
Thanks, Amelia.
You watch it?
I did for a while. There was
David, I think,
So,
I don't have the, at this time, should we move the agenda around to have the little school PTO come up, since they've been
Yes.
patiently waiting? Okay, so if Mr. Lassise and Little School PTO will move you up on the agenda so we can get to you right now. I believe what we have here is some changes or some to the PTO bylaws that you want to tell us about, and then receive approval for these bylaws from the committee, correct?
Yes, excuse me, this is Arita Traumatosi, one of the vice presidents of the PTO, and Susan Wazowski, one of the co-chairs, co-presidents of the PTO. And what we have, the plan is doing is going to, we're fortunate enough to have an attorney on our PTO, and Marina is taking the arduous task of addressing the old bylaws. There was an interest on the part of the PTO to have things updated and have people's job responsibilities outlined and different practices. I think PTOs have changed. We are a PTO. We didn't want to take teacher out of the title, so we are a PTO, and they've changed a lot over the 13 years in terms of, not in terms of purpose as much, but the scope of their responsibilities and what they do in support of the schools. So we just want to articulate it and outline it. So
Okay.
I'll turn it over to Marina.
Great.
Good evening. For the past 10 years, the PTO has been working with a two-page bylaws. I'm not sure if any of you have this in your record, where it basically states what the purpose of the PTO is to fund programs to benefit the little school children. And it discussed very briefly the different titles that the PTO, president, vice president, treasurer, but that's all it did. And each year issues would come up, and also as we expanded the role of the PTO, that it didn't cover the bylaws, but the task of doing new bylaws is not easy. But this year we were also faced with, Mr. Nelson asked us, we for all these years been using the town's tax ID number, and he asked that we change that. So we had to go through an IRS process, which is another mundane task. And so the PTO for several months has decided to, while we have to apply for a tax ID number, that this is the appropriate time to also revise our bylaws. So we had many meetings as to what should be included. And the other part of the tax ID number is that we want to be a tax exempt status. And there's a 34-page application that we need to complete. And I read through the application with a couple of CPAs and members who are more familiar with that application process to see what they wanted in the bylaws, what we needed to put in there with the regulations, because there's a fee involved for them just to review our application. If it's denied, we would have to reapply, and it's quite costly when we're raising money for the children at the school that we're paying the IRS. So the two-page bylaw has now become 8 pages, but the last page is a signature page. But what we tried to do, and our goal was to explain what the PTO does. It also gives us the opportunity to state in more detail so that the public, the parents will know where the money of the PTO goes. For the past few years, the PTO has spent over $30,000 at the little school to help our children. The big purchased this year is that we have 3 smart boards that are being installed after school that the PTO has paid for. So in our previous bylaws, it didn't even allow any funding of anything because it was quite vague. So during this whole process, we decided to revise the bylaws. It looks detailed oriented. I tried not to let it sound too lawyerly, to put it in a foreign language, but to put it so that also people who are in the positions, that they can appreciate before they take on the role, the amount of work that is done. And we've set up new committees to help the better communication process. The PTO has a wonderful relationship with Mr. Lassise, with the teachers, with the staff, and that was another purpose, to have that reiterated throughout the PTO and how we work as a team, and it's not just the PTO making decisions, but that we work together for the benefit of our children. So we've set up committees hoping to help out, not place all the burden just on a few, but that we all work and strive to help the children at the little school.
I read through these, they're extremely comprehensive. I think they're great because they give you a really good insight into what the PTO does, and especially what each member does, but especially for parents with younger kids new to the school who may never have been through this before. Once you read this, and you did a very good job of keeping it unlawyerly because it's very easy to read and understand. And I think it's great. I mean, it's really comprehensive, so. Any questions?
I do. There's just one line, and it's under the duties of president, and it's line G, and it says, act as liaison between school and parent and guardians. And I think that needs to be further clarified because PTOs cannot act as liaisons between the schools and parents.
Well, I believe our purpose would be a little school.
If a parent has an issue with the school, you cannot act on behalf of a child or a family and be involved in any issue in that regard. So I think that either needs to be removed or your real intention clarified, because you can't be privy to any
Correct,
student
and the
information.
PTO has never taken on that role to act as a liaison. It's more for, the purpose of that is for whenever there's an event happening after school, the PTO is marketing the event, back to school night, or if it's field day, whatever is involved, we're the market piece.
That's why I would expand upon, and I would put
Yeah.
it regarding PTO activities.
That's a good point because it does look like when you read that you might be playing some other role. So if you could be more specific in that.
Sure.
David?
Just when the little school embarked on this review process, they, through Bill Lassise, asked to see if there was any school committee policies that guide this review. And there are policies, and it does say specifically that each parent organization acts as a liaison between the school and the children of that school and the school committee. And I don't want to read into what you're saying there, but my interpretation of that is exactly that role, that you are, as the parent-teacher organization, as you say in your purpose and mission, to act for the welfare of the children, the benefit of the children of the little school. And here in policy LEB, relations with parent organizations, the policy says that the purpose of parent organizations is to bring into closer relation the home and the school, that parents and teachers may cooperate intelligently in the training of the child. Secondly, to promote the welfare of children and youth in the home, school, and community. And thirdly, to develop between educators and the general public such united efforts as will secure for every child the highest advantage in physical, mental, and social education. So I think I know that's your intent.